Welcome back to Everyday Writers, your one-stop shop for demystifying the writing process. I'm one of your hosts, Crystal McQueen.
And I'm your other host, Jordan S. Keller. On Everyday Writers, we are strong believers in writing your way. But what happens when you have to, write to a deadline? Today, we're going to be sharing our tips and tricks on how we successfully write to deadlines. Before we dive in, though, give that subscribe button a big thumbs up. Your support keeps us going.
So Jordan, what do you do? What was your last deadline that you had to write to?
So the last deadline I had to write to was with A Sea of Ships and Souls, and thankfully the book itself was already written, thank goodness, but the deadline was for editing. And I had a couple of different 1 week periods where I got to go through and make any changes I wanted to before my new publisher got it, and then another week where I got to go through their suggested edits and apply or deny them, and then a final 1 week stint where it was just kind of a final passover, final thoughts, make sure everything was all buttoned up and good to go on my end. So it of course it was stressful, it was a deadline, but having the book already written and just going in with that fine tooth comb made it a little easier. I could break it up into chapters and just do like 6 chapters every day, and it was very manageable.
What about like writing something new? Because I have a pervasive feeling that, like I need to take time, I need to marinate on it. So do you have an example of a time where you had to write new content that you couldn't go through your typical process to do?
Yeah, that would be with books 2 and 3 of the Ashes Over Avalon trilogy.
Oh,
I always like to joke I had 3 years to write book one and then a year to write book two and book three.
oh
Um,
God.
so it was just first drafts that my publisher wanted. So 6 months for book two and 6 months for book three. And thankfully, while writing book one, I was already jotting down ideas that could happen in book two and book three. So I wasn't going in completely blind. But during those 6 months periods, I really outlined, which I hate doing, but I needed to do it in order to stay focused. So I outlined both projects for about a week and then really just set up these note cards that indicated different scenes that were required. And each day I had to write a scene. And some scenes were like a couple paragraphs, other scenes were a couple pages. And it was grueling at times. It was a slog fest through other times. But I knew what I needed to get done in order to get it done. And I knew it was not going to be an easy task. So you just kind of, I had to go in with that mindset like, you're not going to like it. Just do it.
Did you ever like feel like you weren't going to make it?
No, because of the outline. Like I could see my progress bar taken away, and each time I wrote a scene, I could rip it off my wall, and that was really like that was that satisfaction, that dopamine hit of like ripping off these scene cards from my wall to show like I had done it, I can do it, and it's done, and we can move on, and we'll worry about it later. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I love that. Can I have some of that?
Yes, please take it. I love the note card method. You all
No,
can't
I
see our
meant
viewers.
the confidence of like,
Oh,
I'm gonna make this. This is fine. Like, it's totally gonna happen.
it doesn't come from a good place. I do everything out of spite. And so I knew like old me probably heard at some point, oh, you're never going to write this book. I'm like, well, screw you, person from my past that I don't even remember your name. I'm writing this book, dang it. So just ah. But tell me about your deadlines. I know you didn't really have one for a while. So what kind of college deadlines do you remember?
So when I did my MFA, that was the first time where you just had to make something up. Like you had to come. So the very first class that I took, like I thought I was going to submit the very first novel that I wrote, and I was going to get all this feedback, and I was going to clean it up. And the professor I had was like, "No, I want 4 new scenes, and it's your whole grade, and you have to have it by these times." And so maybe I did embrace some of what you had, but like I was like, I'm not even going to use these. I don't like them. I'm just going to write it down and turn it
Get your
in.
grade and yeah.
Yeah, but then I ended up like, well, let me think about like what I'm actually doing and like how this would fit and all this kind of stuff like that. So I ended up, I wrote 4 total scenes, but I think I ended up keeping 2. So
Oh.
it was just this whole thing of like I don't like to be pressured into writing. I don't feel like
Mhm.
it's good, but then sometimes it really surprises you.
Yeah.
And so, but I always have the feeling like right now I'm writing to a deadline. I'd like to be able to get my first draft completed before I get my developmental edits for my first
Mhm.
book. And I don't know that it's going to happen. Like I doubt it every single day. Uh,
Oh.
but it's really hard because I'm like, I want to do this right, but I'm trying to embrace the trash draft that nobody should
Mhm.
see. And so like it's a different mentality to how I was able to just take my time for 4 years
Right.
and write my book. I don't know that it was 4 years.
It felt
Um,
like 4 years.
it was a long time.
Yeah.
But,
Uh,
now you have to actually like meet those deadlines. You
yeah.
actually have to produce content. So,
It's interesting when you said like you're right, you're writing the way you don't like to write. Like you're not able to take your time. Do you think that as this deadline or as writing to this deadline continues, you'll be able to like retrain your brain, or will you always want to write the more like I don't want to say slow pace, but the more relaxed kind of view of it?
I honestly don't know because I know that we did a bunch of those contests. Remember, like you had to write in a weekend or you
Yep.
had to write in 6 days. And like some of it was garbage, but some of it like I still like it. I have a whole third book
Yeah.
that I'm planning off of one of the short stories that I wrote. And so I don't know if there is creativity and discomfort, but it's definitely something that's producing stuff that I didn't know that I could do. So
Mhm.
I don't know, silver lining maybe.
More of a we'll look back at it after the books are done.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
like writing to a deadline? Like, do you
I
prefer it?
kind of I like I kind of like the pressure of it because sometimes like I'll go a week like I'll get to it later, especially like if I'm approaching a scene I'm not entirely sure what needs to be done, or currently in this rewrite I'm doing, like I'm in this section that's just really like it just feels dirty, like I've got to do all this stuff to it and it just feels like I'm backtracking. But
Oh,
like with the deadline, yeah, so with the deadline I'm like no, I have to get these two chapters done this week or my imaginary plan will all crumble. So I do kind of like that the deadlines, and they're always like soft enough to where if I need an extra day, it's not the end of
mm,
the world. Um,
that's how I budget. Like, budget super conservative, so there's just
yep,
always money left over?
little
Um,
gifts.
yes, yes, that you can be like, well, now I can just have that pizza or whatever.
Like, we're getting pizza tomorrow. I'm so excited.
One of the things that I do every morning before I write, it's part of a whole routine that we'll do in a later
Mhm,
episode about setting up your writing life. But one of the things that I do is I write in a journal before I write, and I can either talk about either the goal that I'm setting or I can
mhm.
talk about like what I'm trying to accomplish that day, which that's what I most often do is try to brain
Yeah.
dump into a journal and then write what I'm trying to do. And so that's actually been really, really helpful, especially when I'm in a scene or a chapter. Like the chapter that I just finished this morning, I
Mhm.
had been working on for 4 straight days. And the reason is that just so many big, poignant things in the story had to be revealed in a natural way that doesn't feel like I'm info dumping to the
Yeah.
reader. And so there was so many like nuances to the scene to how to get it and who to say it and how she finds out about, all these different things. And so I spent a long time on a chapter that I was hoping to get done in a day, but that's what I used the journal for, was just to like pour out my thoughts and my frustrations and what I'm trying to
Mhm.
accomplish that day. And so for me, journaling when writing to a deadline really helps.
I love that because you're setting up this intention for your brain, and I feel like when or at least for me when I think of like preparing to write, I'm setting up the physical elements of it and not so much the mental like headspace for it.
Well,
I
and
might steal a page for that.
there's just like a freeingness because you're not like nobody's going to see your journal, right? So
Mhm.
it's literally a brain dump of whatever you're
Yeah.
thinking, or you can talk in circles and it doesn't matter. And so like for me, like that is why it is just so good to journal before I write, even though it feels like maybe wasting time.
Mhm.
Could you just 200 words a page, just
Yeah.
a little page in your journal to get down your fears, your thoughts, what you're trying to do,
Oh,
what's happening. It's great. It's
I love
fantastic. I
that.
love it.
Oh, and an excuse to get a new notebook.
Oh, or use one of the 10,000 notebooks
Or
you
use one
have.
of the, yeah, probably should. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got 5 tips we'd like to share with you, our listeners, on how to write to a deadline when you're used to not doing it. So, Crystal, if you want to take the first one, or if you want me to take it.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're both going to do this one because I think we do it differently, but it's setting up yourself for success, right?
Hmm.
So doing all of the prep work that you need to do before you actually sit down. I know that that feels like, well, I'm going to spend all this time creating my outlines and my plot points, and it's going to take so much time, and I'm not actually putting words on the page. But sometimes even having a rough outline of where you're
Yeah.
going can help keep the words on the page.
I,
And so, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say like I like thinking of it like setting up Wayfair furniture. When we moved to this new house, we got a ton of stuff from Wayfair, and it's tough furniture to put together. And like I would just start like page one, take this, put it there, and I would do that, and then I would just do step by step and end up messing it up. And so now with my furniture building career, it's lay everything out, read through all the instructions, make sure everything's marked accordingly, make sure you understand the instructions. And so I kind of take that approach with prepping for a deadline, make sure the outlines together, the character arcs, get my music playlist together. I'll do little Pinterest boards. So if I feel like I'm straying from a character's personality, I can look at it real fast. Like, oh no, they like this color, this food, they have this kind of sense of humor sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's
Well,
just building that foundation so you can get running.
my job is to set out all the pieces and make sure they're all there when everyone puts furniture together because I am terrible at it, but we all have our space.
Mhm.
So, another thing that you want to do when you're setting yourself up for success is suiting up. Routine, like there's all kinds of studies behind it. Routine really matters. So when I write in the same place. I drink the same drink. I wear the same outfit. It all goes into setting your mind up to say this is writing time and that's what I'm going to do. And I try not to use those clothes, that space for anything else. I drink
Mhm.
coffee all the time. There's no way I could just drink coffee when I write.
No, maybe a special mug if for viewers at home if you need an idea.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
special creamer or something.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Just a little bit of flavor, like a certain
Hmm.
flavor. There was a writer at one of the conferences I went to that said that she hates Earl Grey tea, but she drinks it when she writes because it's what her gets her body knowing that she is going to write. And she's like, I don't even really like it, so I'm never tempted to drink it outside of writing, but that's what I do
Yeah.
when I write.
Oh,
So it's really
I've
cool.
I've I've slowly gotten into drinking hot coffee. I used to just be iced coffee only. And but now I'll make it way too hot and like my little reward for like I'll make my coffee, I'll sit down. Like I can't drink it until I write probably like 200 words. It gives it time to cool. And it's just that push into those early words that make the rest of the session start flowing. And then I'm rewarded with my normally temperatured coffee.
Oh, I love it. Although I will drink my coffee scalding hot. The hotter,
Yeah.
the better.
Oh, ugh. Just I burn my tongue so often. Our second tip to write to deadline is to set realistic goals and stick with them. So I know a lot of young authors, they'll come in and be like, I'm gonna write 3,000 words a day. It's like, have you ever written 3,000 words a day consistently? And then when they're not hitting that goal, they get a little upset because they feel disheartened. So sorry, someone's clicking. So set your goals to things that you can achieve, and it's okay to start low and build up to a goal. So for a while, I was only 200 words a day. And then if I need to write to a deadline that's a lot quicker, I'll break it up through the week. So like Monday's 500 words, Tuesday 700, Wednesday 900, Thursday's 1100, and Friday's 1500 words. And I'll do those in sprints. So I'll kind of break it up 2 to 3 times a day to achieve those word counts. But just knowing your strengths and how to successfully meet the goals that you set for yourself.
Yeah. Or you can make nested goals. So I tend to do nested goals where I don't try to get a word count in a day because depending on how challenging the scene is or where I am or if I'm uncertain about a scene. So one of the things that I do is generally try to do a word count for the month. So like for June, I'm trying to get 10,000 plus words. So if I
Mhm.
write, I could do that equally throughout the every day throughout the month, but really what it does is it gives me ability to like sprint in a chapter and then also to spend some time in a chapter while still
Yeah,
making the goal accomplishable.
I like that. Do you think you'll do 10,000 every month or just depending on what you need to hit the long time goal?
Well, I'm going to go back to budgeting. So it has to do with like, how did you do for the month? Were your goals conservative enough or were they too aggressive? And then
Yeah.
adjust your goals based on what you're able to do because like you don't want to put needless pressure on yourself. It's I'm okay. Another example is dieting, right? Like if
Hmm.
you, diet well for 4 days and then you blow it a day, are you just gonna like be like, well, okay, it's done now. I'm not gonna ever
Hmm.
accomplish this. And so it's the same thing where it's like slow and steady, give yourself grace. If you miss 4 days because your husband went out of town and you acted like a teenager for 4 days, which I just did, that's okay. That's okay. You can do that. So,
One of those days was celebratory, so.
I don't know. Like all I did while he was gone was I ate really bad food and I read. I did not turn on the TV. I did not open my computer. I read 3 books while he was gone. It was amazing. It was like high school all over again.
Oh, I love that. That was my most recent Sunday. I sat on the couch, like I'm not leaving until I finish this book. It was
Oh,
so enjoyable.
what book was
Oh.
it?
It was The Familiar by
Oh, yeah,
Leah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bardot. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I've read
One
it.
day I'll say her name.
I'm right now. I'm reading the Last Murder at the End of the Earth, and like it
Ooh.
really started slowly, and I wasn't liking it, and now I'm like 80% of the way through it, and I'm like, ooh, this is really good. I got to finish it. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll get moving on so you can get right back to your book.
Okay, so number 3. So treat writing like it's your job. So often people were like, well, if you're not a published author, or maybe you are a published author and you have a day job, like writing is your job. It's not a,
Mhm.
a hobby, right? So don't allow other things in life to take its place, right? Like you're not going to say, well, I am not going to do my job today because somebody needs help moving a couch, right? Like you have to go to your job and you can help somebody move the couch afterwards. So just really treating it like this is your job. Like when you are writing, it is you time and there's not an excuse except for like extreme emergencies for
Yeah.
interruptions. So,
When I was on my deadlines before Wildfire was even out, I was doing Burnout and Combustion. Um, uh, Me and my folks, we talk every day. And so they would call on my lunch breaks and I'd be like, they're like, oh, what are you up to? I'm like, oh, I'm just writing. Like, okay. And then they'd go into like whatever story they had to tell me. I'm like,
yeah.
no, no, no. Like I'm actually like in the middle of writing. Can I call you back like in a half hour? Can I call you back after my actual day job that I write in the middle of? And so and it felt wrong to say like, hey, I don't want your company, but it wasn't like that. It was like, hey, I am in this job. I know it's not like profitable right now, but one day I hope it will be. So like I really need to treat it as such. And they were super understanding, and having that conversation with your friends and family might feel awkward at first, but having them know how important it is to you will make you feel better, because now you have this support group and they can stay behind you and be like, hey, how'd your words go, or what, tell me about your story, and just keep you inspired and support you.
Yeah. Well, and like just think about like if you were, you know, at your day job and somebody called and you'd be like, "Hey, I can talk for like 2 minutes, but I got to get back
Yeah.
to work."
Hmm.
Like it is a responsibility. It could also be giving up something like sleep. So, while writing to a deadline, I
Hmm.
get up at 6 a.m. every morning and I journal and then I write, and I hate it. I like my sleep
Yeah,
when
I
I'm not
admire you
writing.
for doing that.
When I'm not writing to a deadline, I get up at 7 a.m. and I feel refreshed. And, every time the alarm goes off at 6 a.m., there's a war in my brain about like, you
Yeah.
could just sleep, you can write later.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's like, no, this is my job. I can't tell my boss I'm going to come in later. I have
Hmm.
to write. So,
Oh, I did the wake up like the 5 a.m. writing club once, and
no,
I woke
that's too
up, got
early.
to my computer. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not even gonna make smart words doing this. And so I went right back to bed. So I'm
Oh,
ugh. Our fourth tip for writing to a deadline is accept that it won't be perfect. Most likely, when you're writing to a very strict deadline, it's because an agent or publisher wants your work, and they're already going to have editors on standby for when you turn it in. So don't feel like you have to go back to each chapter 6, 7 times and make it as squeaky clean as possible, because you're going to be doing that with them after you turn it in. So just get that story down, and it's not to say make it sloppy, but you don't have to fine tooth comb it as many times as you think you should while you're like pitching to an agent and publisher before you get on their deadlines.
well, and like when you're writing to the deadline, it depends on what the deadline is, right? So, like, if your agent, like you said, just wanted your first draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, embrace the trash draft and maybe go through the second or third one. No, yes, there's going to be plot holes in it. Yes, I got to still do the reverse outline. Yes, I still have to polish every single sentence. But knowing that you're trying to meet the deadline, but that it's not the end goal necessarily,
Yeah.
like that is different than saying I have to get these chapters edited. And that's where I think your first piece of advice at the very beginning of the show was like do 6 chapters at a time. You know,
Mhm.
like there's different ways to treat different deadlines, but
Yeah.
knowing it doesn't have to be perfect, but also like shaping what done is based on the type of deadline is really important.
I love that because I think in previous episodes we've discussed like when do you know you're done editing something? And so moving like I hate the phrase moving the goalpost because sometimes it's negative, but like moving your goals for each of your different deadlines is a really important mindset to keep.
Yeah. Yeah. And like being able to understand who you are, which actually goes into our fifth tip, which is watch out for burnout,
Yeah.
right? So you might come out hot and heavy with your goals. And I'm going to use the example of dieting again, where you're like, I'm only going to eat this many calories a day and I'm only going to eat bland food and I'm going to work out. And like you came out too hot. That's going to last a week. So, making sure that you realize are your goals stressing you out and are your goals reasonable? So, if you got to be aware of, the days that you're just like, well, I wrote 200 words because I said I was going to write 200 words, but those 200 words are just garbage. And it was really just, I think you used the phrase phoning it in,
Yeah.
Jordan. And so, like, it's making sure your goals fit what you're trying to do, but also making sure that your goals are realistic
Mhm.
so that you can keep it up. So it can be a lifestyle, not necessarily a one and
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Yeah, because we've mentioned it before, but like keeping it in a routine, like setting up that hour a day to and you might only get those 200 good words or you might get a 1200 good words, but just writing to to where you need to be, but also being like courteous and kind to yourself. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Always being courteous and kind to yourself, like don't be mean to my friend Jordan, right? Like you're not allowed to
Right.
say bad things about her.
But also in that, like, if you are in deadline, you do have to meet your goals. So every day can't just be a kind day. Sometimes you got to put the hard work in.
But it's like being somebody's coach, right? Like you would not tell
Yeah.
somebody they were garbage or that they're useless or that they're never going to get something done because they missed a
Hmm.
goal, but you are going to say, "Okay, you're going to give me another push-up. You got this in you. Like you
Yeah.
I believe you can do this." And so it's the same thing. Be kind to yourself, but also push yourself.
Yeah. When I was writing A Sea of Ships and Souls, I had my self-made deadlines, and there'd be days where like I didn't want to do nothing. It's like just get them to the X location they need to go, and it would just be 2 paragraphs of like what needed to happen, and then on the next draft, I could be like, oh, we'll turn these 2 paragraphs into 2 pages, and now it's exactly what I wanted it to be. But just getting them to the location made the next writing sprint so much easier because they were in the place I knew all about and knew the scene and knew what needed to be happening. So yeah,
Oh,
just that one more push up, just one more scene.
yeah, just go that little bit of distance. Sometimes you get stuck and you're like I don't know where to go next. But there's an aspect of just churning on it or talking to somebody. So I don't think we talked about accountability, but Jordan and I you and I went to dinner and
Mhm.
I could not figure out how I was going to get her in a certain place at a certain time. And we were just sitting in my car and I think I just like was like well, I could do this. And then there was an epiphany and I like wrote it in my
Yeah.
phone. And so the next morning I had somewhere else to go. And so it doesn't even have to be at that moment you're sitting in your chair, in your outfit, and you're ready to write. Like I will often sit down in my chair and open up the notes on my phone and be like, okay, what ideas did I have for the previous day?
Mhm.
So it could be going on constantly.
Always bubbling. I always feel like when I get stuck, I'll take the dog for a walk and just removing myself from the writing space, it'll just open my brain. Like, "Hey, here's all these possibilities." Like, oh, thank you. Now, don't forget any of these.
There's a TED talk on that. There's a TED talk about going for walks or being in the shower. There's the actual like mindless motion of it that stirs creativity, and people are far more creative walking than they are just sitting
Wow.
down. And so, going for
Ooh.
a walk is a huge way to boost creativity. I'll try to find the TED talk and put
Yeah,
it
that
in
sounds
the
awesome.
comments. It's only like
Yeah,
10 minutes, so
great. Perfect for a dog walk.
yeah, yeah.
So, are you ready for a game?
Yeah, I would love to play a game.
Okay, so we're going to play this or that. So listeners at home, grab your pens and paper and play along with us. So this or that, Crystal, deadline or no deadline? Do you like writing under the pressure?
I hate writing under the pressure, but sometimes it's good for you. Sometimes it
Mhm.
is really good for you. It's like your broccoli. Eat your broccoli.
You're probably get strong.
What about
I
you?
I do
Deadline or no?
enjoy I do enjoy the soft deadline, like those self-imposed, like the just like get into the next scene, or like by the end of the week, I need you to have this chapter done. It's like, yes, boss,
Yeah.
to myself in the mirror.
Yeah. Okay, so this or that, word count goals or chapter goals?
Daily word count, weekly chapter, I think. But I think I lean more towards word count. I like seeing the like I like having like a goal, like, okay, I hit my 700, I'm done for the day. But let me finish this and get to 1100. What
So
about you? Oh,
I'm also both, right? Like
yeah.
I really like having a word count, like a broad word count, like for the month. But then when I do my journaling, I will do what am I going to do today? I want to get halfway through this chapter. I want to get to the end of this chapter. I want to figure out this problem with this chapter. So
Mhm.
most of my daily goals have to do with something about a chapter. Yeah.
Ooh, ooh. Okay, this or that. Do you prefer to write at home or write in public?
Oh my gosh, home. Public is so I have
Yeah.
everything is like squirrel. I can't do it. What about you? Can you do home or public?
I, I can do home or I can do public, but I prefer home. I think I romanticize the idea of coffee shop writing, but in my brain, I'm like all the logistics. So I have to pack up all my stuff and then get there and then get my coffee. And then what if my coffee's bad? Or what if I drink it too fast? I have to get a second one. Then what if I get hungry? Then I'm gonna eat. I'm not gonna write. So the idea of writing in a coffee shop is so romantic to me. But
But
I
there's all the smells and the noises and
yeah.
people come in and like, oh my gosh, the grinding of the coffee beans. That is never in the movies.
But it's always in our local shops.
Always. Oh my gosh. Okay. Edit as you write or wait until the end.
I like to wait until the very end, but with our writing group, I'm constantly like backtracking and editing and then bringing it in and then making changes and that's so great to catch things early on so you're not like repeating the mistake throughout. But I can feel like the two steps forward, one step back feeling of it sometimes.
Ah.
Uh, yeah.
So I was always an edit as I write kind of person.
Hmm.
But then after my last novel, I read Matt Bell's three drafts.
Yeah.
And the retyping your entire second draft, which I feel like I spent so long on that first draft, I just never finished it. And so when I finally did, was like, I'm just going to finish it. This is going to be my goal to just get it on paper. And then I redrafted. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even keep like all the stuff that I labored over for so long. So for this one,
Oh.
I am doing everything in my power to embrace the trash draft and wait
Hmm.
until the second draft to edit.
I'm a big fan of trash drafting.
Well, that is all the time that we have for this episode of Everyday Writers. Don't forget that if you're writing to a deadline, this is your job. Treat it like one.
And set goals that you know you can reach.
And keep the prize in mind. This is your book you're writing, and hard work is part of it.
And then join us next time on Everyday Writers for a breakdown of common literary devices. If you love what you hear on our show, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below and give Crystal and I a follow on Instagram.
And don't forget, every day is a good day to write. See you next time.
Bye.